I always believed in life after death, but I had no idea how that happened. I would say the biggest growth for me and the biggest change for me before working with death and dying in animals to now is that the belief that once the body dies, that's it, even though I had this concept of life after death, but not really understanding what that meant. And I talk about how, in the book, I talk about how Digby taught me. She taught me that when she was dying, or just about to die, that you're just taking off your coat. So if you think of our physical body as just a coat, and you're stepping out of it, and I talk about this, I explain all this, and is that I don't change. The core of who I am does not change, and that is your soul. And I'm able to feel my soul pulsing in my body every time I tune into it, and I can feel it. It's like, that is the truth of who I am. This is just the personification. Karen Wickerson is just the personification of my soul, of who I chose to be this lifetime. So when I hear that somebody has died, or I am experiencing an animal dying, it's completely different now for me, and I have peace with it because I can feel and sense that energy just transforming from physical to a state of just pure energy. And it's like, oh, okay.
Hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie. We are back at it again for another episode of Living Life Consciously. I have a very special return guest lined up for you today, and I am stoked to get started. So without further ado, Justin, say hey.
Hey, Cosmic Thrill Seekers. I'm Justin. This is Living Life Consciously, where we explore the extraordinary, ride the waves of inspiration, and embark on an adventure of limitless curiosity together.
I'm Leslie, also known as Light Being Love, an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And we are welcoming back Karen Wickerson. Karen, would you like to say hello?
Hi, I'm really happy to be back. Just continuing our conversation where we left off, and new jumping off points.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so let's just dive in, shall we? Have you ever looked into your pet's eyes and felt like they were trying to tell you something? What if you could truly understand their thoughts, emotions, and even their wisdom about life and the afterlife? On this episode of Living Life Consciously, we welcome back Karen Wickerson, an extraordinary animal communicator, healer, and author, to share insights from her new book, Listen to Your Animals, They Know More Than You Think. Karen has spent years bridging the gap between humans and their beloved animal companions, uncovering the deep intelligence and emotional lives of creatures great and small. In this fascinating conversation, she reveals what our pets wish we knew about their needs, their experiences, and even their journeys beyond this world. Through telepathic communication, Karen has connected with animals in ways that defy logic but open the heart, offering profound lessons on love, connection, and understanding. If you've ever felt a deep, unspoken bond with an animal, this episode will inspire you to listen more closely and see them in a whole new light. Join us for an eye-opening discussion that just might change the way you interact with the animals in your life forever. I love this stuff. Yes.
Yes.
Great summary. Thank you.
Absolutely. I am so happy to talk about this. It's not every day I get to speak to another animal communicator. And by the way, when I say another, I consider myself that on a tiny, minuscule scale compared to like your expertise and experiences.
Well, I'm really glad that you said that, because we all can. And it's varying levels, right? So some people start at kindergarten and then exponentially grow to the PhD fellowship, like postdoc kind of place, or we just stay in that, elementary stage, but at least we have that, deeper connection with our animals, and we are paying attention to what they have to say. We all have that ability. It's just a matter of, do you want to develop it, Or do you want to just, are you happy enough just to stay where you're at and you understand your animal's behaviors? But we're always, always, always communicating with our animals.
Ah, love that reminder, especially with the telepathy tapes being the #1 podcast right now. I feel like the telepathic conversation is becoming more and more forefront. And I mean, if humans can telepathically communicate with each other and humans can telepathically communicate with animals, plants, and landscapes, I mean, hey, what, like we can telepathically communicate with past loved ones. Like, what's the limit?
That's right. Exactly. You're absolutely right on that one. You hit the nail on the head. I figured the same thing. So I do talk to my flowers and plants, and when I do, they thrive. They're continually blooming. And then when I neglect them and I forgot to say, good morning, beautiful ones, I can actually feel them like, oh, we're just an object. We're just an object to look pretty. Like, that's it.
Aww.
I know.
I think just recently I heard something, Leslie, I think we talked about this. I could be, I don't know. I heard something about that houseplants can like literally feel their people within like a certain meter radius. And this must have been a European thing because I'm talking in terms of meters instead of feet. So it was like a certain meter radius. And I was like, well, our animals could do the same thing because like that Rupert Sheldrake book about his, the dogs knowing when their owners are coming home. Apparently our plants know when we're coming home too.
Yeah.
Houseplants are capable of sensing telepathic communication and participating in telepathic communication. It's been shown that if you have houseplants that have been in your life for even a few months, if you put EEGs on those and then you send the person who takes care of those out of the house, send them some distance away, the moment they come within 2,000 meters or 2 kilometers from the home, the plants all perk up. They can feel the person coming from 2 kilometers away. And so if plants are that sentient, that they are that connected, even in a pot in your house, totally disconnected seemingly from nature, if that thing is feeling 2 kilometers of space and then waiting for the excitement of being like, the person who loves me, the person who planted me is coming back. How phenomenal. Like,
I think there's a story of a plant that actually helped solve the mystery of a murder because a murder happened in front of the plant.
Oh, I heard about that one.
Oh, really?
I've heard that too. Yes.
Oh, wow. I haven't heard about that one.
Detective Russ Parker is not a man who fusses over petunias. He's a hardened veteran of the force whose only use for a flower is to hide a wiretap inside. But he's just been called to investigate a death in a flower shop, and there's a familiar fragrance in the air. The scent of murder.
I'd been working the murder beat in Tacoma for the past 15 years.
Step back, folks. Watch your tape.
Thought I'd seen just about everything, but the homicide at Saito's Garden Works turned out to be the strangest one yet. What do we got?
Male, Asian, about 60 years old, owns a shop, and got no witnesses. There he is. His nephew found him like this morning when he came in for work. Yeah, he's pretty shook up.
It's so horrible. I love my uncle. He was like a second father to me.
I'm done here. You can take him whenever you're ready. No suspects, no witnesses, no prints.
Why don't we put together a lineup?
Lineup? How do we have a lineup if we don't have any witnesses?
The plants were here.
The plants?
Yeah. When I was in college, I took a biology class with a professor named Comstock. Now, he was, he was a little out there, but he had this theory that plants have the same emotions and reactions that we do.
Where are you going with this?
I know it sounds crazy, but Comstock hooked up a plant to a polygraph machine and exposed it to all kinds of different violent acts, like boiling a lobster alive. The needles went nuts. I saw it myself. The plant felt the lobster's pain.
You're kidding me, right? You're telling me these plants know we're talking about them right now?
All I know is what I saw. And the experiments worked. Look, we got nothing to lose, Russ.
So Santoni got his old professor to come in and set the whole thing up. As we got closer to actually doing this crazy thing, it started getting an ache in my gut. I didn't like feeling stupid.
Are you ready, Professor?
You can call in your first suspect.
I can't believe we're doing this.
First man, step up, state your name.
Have him approach the plant.
Walk up to the table and give us 2 profiles. As I figured, there was no unusual movement on the polygraph machine.
Okay, that's good.
That was the last one. You sure your machine's hooked up properly, Doc?
Yeah, it's hooked up right.
Well, maybe one of your leaves was having a hard time remembering.
Hey, what's going on? I saw the lights.
Nothing, just a little experiment.
Bus. So, you guys get any leads yet on who murdered my uncle? Yeah, actually we did. A real good one. See, a witness just turned up. Really? Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't know there were any witnesses.
Yeah, there was a witness. And he just identified you as the killer.
That's crazy.
Why'd you do it, Steve?
Oh, where are you going, Steve? I didn't kill my uncle. See, I think you did.
After 2 hours of questioning, Steve Saito finally broke down and confessed to the murder of his uncle. His motive? An inheritance he didn't want to wait for. After he confessed, he asked me who the witness was. I told him I was sure he knew him. In fact, he probably even watered him a few times.
Could this story be true? Can a plant really identify a murderer? Actual studies have shown that plants and flowers respond to outside stimuli. They even grow faster when they're talked to and treated with love. Does this story of the flower jury carry the bouquet of truth? Or is it just another blooming lie? This one has to be false, right? Wrong. Our research shows a similar incident happened in the New York area in the late 70s.
It was about the frequency and the resonance that the plant was giving off when the person came into the room, and they were able to figure that out for the plant because it was so traumatic for the plant.
Yes. Yep. Like plant really went through some trauma witnessing this, let's just say crime, because I don't know the exact details of it. But they're able to like use, I think it's like electrodes or something, and like read the plant's chemical and electrical responses to things. Mm. And this plant literally started stressing out when it came back into proximity of this person that committed this crime. And like, that's one of the things that tipped them off that like, this is the dude that needs to be like number one suspect.
Wow. That makes me think of the other, I've heard of one other experiment involving a plant. So basically they had this random number generator hooked up to a light, and basically it could move the light into 4 different corners of a room, and it would randomly move the light just all over the place, right? And then they put this plant in the corner of this room, and somehow or another, the light ended up going over to the corner that plant was in, more so than it was at any other corner. Mm-hmm. Because somehow or another the plant was able to influence the random number generator to move the light into where the plant needed the light.
So the plant was like affecting the random number generator in a way of saying, hey, I need you more over here. And then it ended up like doing that. I don't know if that's
I do believe that was a study at the university level. So there's probably a white paper on that. If any, I don't know, but we'll have to
look into it.
We'll look into it.
I'll edit something in if I can.
Put in a link if we can.
There was an unpublished experiment that we did at the Pear Lab, which we called Plant RNG. You have a room with no windows, and you have a house plant that needs light to grow. And you have a single growing light up on the roof. The growing light can turn in one of 4 quadrants, and which quadrant that light is showing is controlled by a random number generator. So you put the plant in one corner of the room. The light has an equal chance of shining in all 4 quadrants. But you give it enough time, and what you find is the light actually shines far more often on the plant than on the other coordinates. It's as though life itself, even life or consciousness in something as simple as a houseplant, bends probabilities in the physical world in the direction of what it needs, in the direction of its growth and its evolution. I see that experiment as profound because it shows to me what consciousness does in the world.
Leslie, what were you going to say? We cut you off. I'm sorry.
I don't know what I was going to say, but another point I wanted to make was about Dr. Emoto and, the water experiment, and that goes into the rice experiment. Right. And it's basically all the same thing, if we are loving, with our intentions and our thoughts, it's going to help, anything thrive, any person, any animal, any plant, it's just going to it's all, everything's energy, frequency, and vibration. I don't know. That was my thoughts. And then if it's the opposite, it's going to cause harm.
Subway exhibit comes to us from Japan and Mr. Masuro Emoto. Mr. Emoto became terribly interested in the molecular structure of water and what affects it. Now, water is the most receptive of the 4 elements. Mr. Emoto thought perhaps it would respond to non-physical events. So he set up a series of studies, applied mental stimuli, and photographed it with a dark field microscope. This first picture is a picture of water from the Fujiwara Dam. And this picture is the same water after receiving a blessing from a Zen Buddhist monk. Now, in this next series of pictures, Mr. Emoto printed out words, taped them to bottles of distilled water, and left them out overnight. This first photograph is a picture of the pure distilled water, just the essence of itself. These subsequent photographs, as you can see, are each different. This is the chi of love. And we move along here to thank you. And you can see where he taped that to this bottle here. But if you read Japanese, you already knew that. Now, Mr. Emoto speaks of the thought or intent being the driving force in all of this. The science of how that actually affects the molecules is unknown. Except to the water molecules, of course. And it's really fascinating when you keep in mind that 90% of our bodies are water.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If thoughts can do that to water, imagine what our thoughts can do to us.
Absolutely. And this is such a good reminder that everything is connected. We are connected. We just happen to be living in physical bodies, whether it's plants or animals or humans, that give the illusion that we're separated. Right. But the whole plant experiment and the water experiment absolutely does demonstrate how interconnected we really are.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And that's why I love this conversation so
Me
much.
too. I love having these conversations. And another study that came to mind, and we're kind of going off on all these tangents here, but it's
all related.
That's what we do.
Right.
It is.
There was a study recently that came to my attention about that plants emit sounds. So just like in these human physical bodies, like we only see like a small 1% of the light spectrum, we can also only hear a certain spectrum of sounds. And it turns out that plants communicate through like little clicks. I think it was like tomato plants or something that like they were able to like figure out like that the plants were like clicking or something, and that certain animals can pick up on it.
This is an example of such a manipulation we did on tomato sounds that we recorded. And these are sounds that were recorded from grapevines and manipulated in the same manner.
When a tomato plant is feeling well, it emits very few sounds. But when it is stressed, when it is dehydrated or cut or sick, it emits plenty of sounds. And we can tell the type of stress and the species of the plant from these sounds. These results have several implications. First, it means that in many cases, plants that we see outside that appear stressed are also emitting sounds, only we do not hear them. Second, it might mean that someone is listening to these sounds. The sounds are out there and contain information, and animals that can hear these sounds can respond to them.
And then I'm sitting here like literally right now, right this moment, our neighbor is mowing the grass. And I'm like, oh my God, the grass is probably stressed the hell out. Like it's probably screaming. And then earlier before we were recording, the kid in the yard right behind our bedroom wall was standing up on the fence, hacking away at this tree with literally a machete. And I'm like, oh my God, no, stop. The spirit is going to feel like I was like freaking out. I'm like trying to telepathically tell this kid to like stop fucking hacking this fucking tree. Like,
I know when it comes to gardening, I'll plant all these vegetables and it's really hard for me to actually pick them to eat.
Oh, yeah.
So I just say, thank you for your energy. That'll keep me alive and nourished. I really appreciate you. So I do bless them every time I pick, and I give gratitude just because it's that I know that they're stressed. I'm like, no. But I really appreciate and love you. So thank you.
I think that's the perfect thing to do, though, because like the fruits are meant to be eaten, whether it's you or a bunny rabbit that's going to come in the garden.
And that's how everything is also connected. There is a circle of, and it made me think of angels too, like we're like they need us as much as we need them.
Exactly, Leslie.
And the plants kind of are similar. Like they probably want to nourish us, but we also need to be very thankful and grateful and send those good energies to keep the, everybody happy.
And the same goes for plant medicine plants. Like I remember watching a documentary on ayahuasca, and they call her Mother Aya or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the term is, but basically they said the same thing, that when they go to harvest the ayahuasca leaves or vines, they like set the intention of like, hey, thank you for your medicine. Thank you for your wisdom. We really appreciate you. We're going to do this with the utmost respect. And they only take like a certain amount. They don't like clear the whole thing. They only take a certain amount, and then they thank it. And as they're doing the ceremony, again, with intention and blessings, they're thanking the plant for its medicine and for its wisdom and for its awakening properties and all that stuff. So it's really just a matter of intention and respect. Like,
that's
what it boils down to for me.
Absolutely.
With the telepathy tapes coming out and everything, it's, I've been obviously thinking about the change of, possibly humans becoming telepathic, like on a larger scale, and it becoming the norm, eventually. But to consider the animals and even the plants, like I really haven't really went that far. That this conversation just made me consider that aspect of, it's not just us that
are going to benefit from right, exactly. I mean, how does your dog know when you're coming home? Before you even get there.
We'll let Karen answer that question.
Yeah, I will. And I'm going to do that. I actually have a diagram to explain that.
Oh,
so
perfect.
This diagram is from Healing Touch for Animals. Okay. And this is the healing methodology that I use for.
There you go.
For people and animals. So, with our human energy fields, there are 7 layers, and they are the astral, the physical, the ethereal, all of that, right? The mental, the psychic, and they're nicely layered. Do you see that? However, the animals' energy field, it's all pixelated and it's all combined. Okay. Now the difference is that the human's energy field is pretty small and it's around us. Take a look at this. If you hold on, let me see. There we go.
Wow. The dogs.
is the animals, just in animals, 10 times the size of a human being, and pixelated inside. So that is how your animal knows when you're coming home, because they can feel you 10 times your size. Horses, their energy fields will take up a whole barn, a whole herd.
I believe
wow.
Rabbits, they actually memorize every square inch of a 2-kilometer radius. I have no idea what that is in miles, but it's a large field. So they know what's in their territory and who's coming into their energy field, because that's how big their energy field is. So they feel predation, they know they gotta scram, right? Mm-hmm. So when it comes to doing Reiki on animals or healing touch for people on animals or any of that, it'll help, but it's coming from a methodology from a human energy system where it's layered and nice and all that and divided. Whereas animals, pixelated, mashed up together, all 7 features, and it's enmeshed in at 10 times the size of human beings. So that's why healing touch for animals is way more effective on an animal than that of Reiki or healing touch for people.
Wow.
As a visual learner, thank you so much for that, because that picture really helped bring it home for my brain. Which do you think is like more effective? Like our layering where there are separate layers and kind of close, or animals where they're large and pixelated and all meshed together?
I think it's a good question. I never really thought of it, but instinctively, I don't think one is better than the other. It's just the way we are designed, that the divine creator decided this is what we need. So when we're interacting, like you and Justin, when each other's home, when the other one is out, right? Mm-hmm. And it's that combination when the two of you come together just to have a conversation like this, you're then bringing your energy fields together. As for animals, they are always connected all the time,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it helps them to keep safe from predators, friend or foe. And it helps to keep their instincts intact. Now you'll see, for those of your audience members who have dogs, let's take this for instance. If they've been a rescue and they've been traumatized, there will be tears in that energy field. So maybe they're hypervigilant. Maybe they've got separation anxiety. Maybe they're stressed so much that they'll follow you around the house and will tear the house apart if you're gone even for 5 minutes. That's because the trauma is locked in their amygdala. They're not operating in the prefrontal cortex rational reasoning, and they're not connected to their higher self, and they're certainly not grounded to the core earth energy. Their energy is seeping out of that energy field, and it's kind of like a baby that's crying their head off and not swaddled. Like they just can't find their boundaries, right?
Wow.
So I don't really think that one is better than the other. I think it just suits the species.
I was wondering, humans could be more telepathic, than we are now, but given our, we are safe. In other words, for the most part, most of us are pretty safe. So, therefore our energy field may have, reduced or something, or like maybe if we were more in tune, or if we, practice these things, like would our energy field become larger?
Yeah. Well, you never know, right? Our brain and what it's able to do is so much more than what we know it can do. So you never know what could happen. Maybe we can expand our energy field much greater. I have no clue. I don't have the answer to that.
Yeah, and then we humans also have those tears and stuff from things
absolutely
from traumas.
I was thinking that. I was thinking that same thing. I'm like, well, there's plenty of people with energetic seepages happening.
Absolutely.
Just go out into society, you'll find some.
I think.
So do you help close those up? I'm wondering, is that part of what you're doing?
I'm sorry. Repeat the question, please, Leslie.
Are you helping with those animals, with their fields? You know what I mean? So through your healing, you're also healing their field. And
100%. That's what I do. I do what's called horror repair and balance. And it's just immediately the first thing I do is get everything in line, get everything intact, get everything open and flowing properly. Then I can actually go into the system and work from a healed energy field place and connecting them to the core crystal of the divine and the core energy of the earth. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, my pleasure. It's so fun.
Did you have a question?
Oh, I was
Sorry,
just
Justin.
I was just trying to say, I think like telepathy is like a muscle that we've never used before. And
right.
in order for the muscle to get strong, you have to practice, you have to use it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
I feel like we've grown up with this, I guess, quote unquote, stigma attached to consciousness and telepathy and psi abilities, to the point where people get talked out of using them. I feel like
Yes.
when you're a kid, you're in this very like child mind state where you
haven't
think
been
anything
programmed or
and you
conditioned
know
out of it
everything
yet.
is possible, and then
Yeah.
you get quote unquote programmed out of it as you get older.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. I just want to comment on that, Justin. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm so excited to tell you a great example of this.
Yes, please.
I have 4 granddaughters, ages 1 month old to almost 4 years old.
Okay.
And my 2 older granddaughters, the oldest one will be 4 in April, and the other one will be 4 in September. From, there's 5 months in between because I've got two sons. And the second oldest granddaughter, she says to me, I talk to granddaughter A. I'm not going to give names. I talk to granddaughter A. And I'm like, well, of course you do. She goes, no, nighttime. I'm like, what do you mean nighttime?
Wow.
We talk to each other at night. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. And I'm encouraging this. I said, so what do you guys talk about? Oh, our dolls and our animals. And, then she'll tell me, I'm like, wow. I go to granddaughter A. I said, so do you talk to do you talk to your cousin? And she's, yeah. When? Night. Wow, this is fantastic. So I'm encouraging that. And so when they come over and they see my cats, they have a question, does Curious do this? Does Tenderfoot do that? I said, I don't know. Why don't you ask them? So I'm encouraging to use their given ability to talk to them. And I said, what did they say? And they'll tell me. I'm like, fantastic. You're absolutely right. So I'm encouraging them to keep that, because you are so on point, Justin. It is a muscle. You have to exercise it.
Yeah.
Got to bring it back. And everybody has this ability. You just have to believe in yourself.
Oh man, thank you for bringing up aware kids like that. Like, I hope your sons are also on board with encouraging it too.
And it's awesome, and it validates the telepathy tapes and the whole hill thing where they're meeting consciously. I mean, it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if they are diagnosed with anything or if they're just typical children at this point. But that's really interesting. I don't know. That's the touchy thing.
Speaking of the telepathy tapes specifically, I don't think it's just because these kids are nonverbal autistic. I don't think it's because they're autistic that they can do this. I think that
the muscle has been worked out because
they have no other way to communicate with other people other than through telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate when it's not, when the adults, tell them it's, it's just their imagination or whatever, and they're getting programmed. It's unfortunate because that creates doubt around. Not only is it turning off, it's like it makes them doubt themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And something that you made me think of is like when somebody loses one of their senses, the other ones get heightened. Right. So like I was thinking of the story of this boy who was blind, but he like bats do click and use like echolocation to figure out like where he's going. So like while he lost his sight, he emphasized his hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I just felt the need to talk about that too.
Yeah.
I am a man who uses the techniques of a bat to navigate. And I have no recollection of ever having seen. So we have a structure here that has a roof, a pavilion. I got my first bicycle when I was 6. Go hiking alone in places I don't know. I've traveled to nearly 40 countries. I learned at a very early age that when I click my tongue, I get feedback from the environment all around me. It does not have the degree of definition that is available to vision, but it does have contour, it does have dimension, size, positions of things, layouts of things, and it also has information about texture and density. This tree is a total oddball in terms of its shape. So it starts out quite low, and then as you approach it, it quickly comes up, but it doesn't ever get very tall. Anyone can improve their ability to echolocate. My brain isn't special. This isn't something unique to my brain. It isn't something unique to a select few. It is something that anyone can train their brain to do better. Okay, so if I make a shh sound and I do not move the panel, there is no change in sound. But if I move the panel, the sound will change. And the same is true with the click. The click essentially remains the same, but the reflections of that click are altered by the different characteristics of surfaces and their position. The key to an effective click is its short duration. You want a brief click. It can't be sort of mushy, it can't be juicy. It has to be sharp and clear. I certainly don't feel I'm missing anything, not having my sight. I tend to think of challenges as puzzles, as opportunities for discovery.
This conversation is like so all over the place,
but it's all related.
It's in sync. It's like perfectly in sync too.
Well, it is, and it isn't, because it is all connected. You know, as our brain develops and grows and expands, because we're using it in different ways, it becomes more apparent on just, once again, how connected everything is. Our sight, our hearing, our smell, our touch. So what's developing within me now over the last couple of years is that I wear an eye mask. It gets too light in the morning for me, so I wear an eye mask at night. And just as I'm waking up, I can actually see my whole bedroom clearly. And I'm like, am I wearing my eye mask? Yeah, it's still there. I'm like, okay, so now I've activated my third eye, and I can see through my eye mask. And I can see the fourth world. I can see the dark entities. I've seen them attack my husband. And in that moment, I will clear them out. I will get the armor of God on him. I will get the tetrahedron over him, and I will banish them. Right? So now I can actually see the unseen world when I'm in that state, and I'm trying to develop that I can see it as I'm walking around every day. But I think it would be a bit overwhelming, so I've got to choose my times as to when
it's like limiting your screen time. You're limiting your
pretty much,
time.
right? Exactly. When I talk to animals, it's funny because if I'm in a session, I'll have an animal pop in and say, "Hey, Karen's," like, "No, your time is not now. You got to somehow tell your human to book a session with me." and I'll come back to the animal I'm working on, you know. But that it's so funny because if I don't turn it off, tune it out, they're always saying, hey, hi, good to see you. You know, like, it's just like walking down the street and the dogs will look at me. It's like, I'll just say, hi, nice to see you. You know, whether it's verbally or in my head, it's like, hope you have a great day. I don't have the permission from the human companion of that animal to talk with them. So all I can say is, hi, how are you? You know, unless I have somebody say, hey, can you ask my dog if, Like, yeah, sure, because I then have permission. But if anybody says that, oh, I saw this abused dog on a video and I started talking to it telepathically, well, karmically speaking, you don't have the right to talk to that animal who belongs to somebody else. And I shouldn't use the word belong, but who's a companion of somebody else, because you have no idea what that dog is needing, and you have no way of communicating that to the human. Say, hey, by the way, your dog is actually feeling this, and then you have no credibility. And I mean, it's just a real letdown for the animal who you're trying to help out. Intentions are good. It's just it's an ethical thing that people just cannot do. It's not fair to the animal.
I just thought of a question that I've literally never even thought about before. So you said that if an animal is someone's companion, that you have to have permission from that person to speak with that animal, right? So, so a thought popped in my head. I'm like, well, how does that compare to like a wild animal? A wild animal can just communicate freely because it's wild, right? So that means that when a domesticated animal or something becomes domesticated, then do they kind of like, I don't want to say like lose their sovereignty because they have to then go through the person? Like, how does that dynamic work? I've never even thought of this concept before, so I don't even know if I'm articulating it correctly.
Yeah,
like,
I get what you're saying.
Do you? Okay, good, because I don't know if I'm saying it right.
It's a good question. So wildlife, you know, they have an oversoul, right? So they're free. They have full on sovereignty. You can ask them. They usually ignore me. It's like you're just like, they ignore me. So, but when it comes to an animal having a soul contract with another human being, that is their spiritual contract. Okay. So it's not like one, like, yes, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, as versus a pet owner versus a guardian or human companion, but that is their personal soul contract. So they are in a service to each other. The animal is of service to the human, and the human is of service to the animal. Whether or not they know that, that's a different topic, but you've asked me a specific question. Do they lose their sovereignty? No, it's a soul contract that's very intimate and personal.
Okay. And I just thought of another question that I thought of earlier when you were talking about dogs that, let's just say dogs that have been through trauma and how they have cracks in their energetic field and how energy seeps out through that. And then it's your job as an energy healer to patch those holes up and do that. So a question that arose in my mind when you were speaking on that was, are the animals self-aware enough to know that that's happening and to know that they need that help? Or are you just energetically reading it or seeing it and going, okay, I see the leak in the oil over here, let me patch that up? Like, are the animals self-aware and like understanding what they need from you?
Yes.
Or okay.
100%. Yeah, we work in partnership. I will always ask them permission. Hey, are you up for this? Like, oh my goodness, yes. I am hurting, in between my hips. And then I'll do a body scan, like, oh, I can see why. Let me take care of that for you. Excuse me. So it's a partnership. I don't just go in and take over. I do a scan, and I'll telepathically be talking to the animal, say, hey, what are you wanting? This is what your human is asking for you, because this is what they're observing. And this is what I'm seeing. So what are you wanting? And this is all telepathically done and a sense in my own body, because if they're feeling pain in their back or their neck, I'm feeling pain in the back and the neck. So that's how I work. It's always a partnership. I don't take over. When I work with horses, I even ask if I can come into their domain. Can I come into your stall? I have to ask permission. It's not okay for me to just take over like I know everything.
Right.
And we cannot be guardians with these soul contracts and just take over like I know best, because you have knowledge and you have instincts and you know your animal, but you don't know everything, and you certainly don't know what your animal, their needs, wants, and desires are, right? Like, what do they prefer? Now, I've got an interesting story actually in my book. I'm going to show my book off here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Please do.
There we go.
There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Yay.
Okay. So in the book, there's a story where the animals are talking, like, just ask us permission. The horses are saying, if I can remember correctly, just ask us permission if we want to be ridden that day. It may not be on your schedule. It may not be when you want to ride us and we don't want to be ridden for whatever reason, just give us the respect and ask if we want to have a lesson or be ridden today. So one of my clients has a high level competition horse, and she wanted to go riding after a really tough day at work. She's a surgeon in Florida, and her downtime is being with her horse. And she just finished reading that chapter of asking permission in relationships. She calls me up and she was so upset. She goes, in a joking way, not in a malicious, harsh way. She goes, "Fuck you, Karen. I read that chapter of asking permission and my horse pivoted and just galloped to the other side of the field and I needed him." We both cracked up in laughter. And so out of that, we had to have a conversation with our horse saying, look, let's have an agreement here. This is what your human does. This is what she does. And she's really good at it. And it's very stressful. And she does save lives. So how you can serve her is that when she comes home from a tough day, she just wants to ride you for a half hour, 45 minutes to de-stress. And that's how you can serve her. And he goes, well, why didn't you just say that in the first place? You know? So now they agreed that she would ride him on certain days after work, and then he would have breaks on days that he wants to have breaks, and they have this agreement. So I think it's like 4 days she gets to ride, 3 days he gets to rest. And
I love that they came to that compromise.
Yeah, they compromise, and they found a rhythm and a pattern. They really are loving it.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Go
awesome.
ahead.
What? So I just bought the book.
Oh,
I bought a copy of it. Recommend everybody else to go check it out on Amazon.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. And Barnes and Noble. It's on Barnes and Noble for your American audience too, if they want online.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Awesome. I have a question specific to your book. Do you mind if I ask?
Please, I ask away, please.
Okay.
All right. Your book touches on the importance of food for animals.
Yes.
What's something surprising you've learned about their relationship with nourishment?
That is a great question. The majority of the animals hate canned food. They hate it.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, they really hate it. That's the biggest surprise. And it's like it tastes bland to them. And I get animals saying, well, would you like toast morning, lunch, and dinner for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Would you like the same thing over and over again?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of us who have animals that just take the can out of the pantry, open it up, and dump it in their bowl or the dry food or whatever. And there's no life. And I think I speak about this in the book. They tell me there's no life. And what they mean by that is that there's no energy in it. Whereas if you give them, and I am not a veterinarian here, I am not a veterinarian nutritionist here. I'm just giving information what the animals tell me over the last 10 years about food, that they prefer live food, meaning raw food. They want the blood, they want the minerals, they want the enzymes, they want the protein, they want the lutein, they want the taurine. They need all of that, and they want it fresh. And their mouth starts, I can feel it right now when I'm tuning into my cats who get raw. They start to drool. And then when I'm thinking about them right now having dry when they're sick, because I had one cat whose teeth were removed, I think I talked about that in the book. And it's like, dries up. It's like, I don't want this. It's like, how long do I have to be on this gross, dry, bland food? And there's no, so for them, texture is important. Taste is important. They love things that are juicy. So I get a lot of dogs that say, we want blueberries, we want strawberries, because they love that juice. They want something crunchy like red peppers. So they love that. But when I'm in their body and I'm doing a session around food and I ask, what do you normally give them? Oh, we give them whatever brand of dry food, kibble. All of a sudden, because I'm in their body, my body goes dry, my mouth goes dry, I don't have any circulation in the digestive system. And there's constipation, there's like everything. It takes all of the hydration in my body to get that dry food passing through their body. And then when I pour extra water in their dry food, there's some, it's better because you're adding the moisture that's lost just to get that food through the body. When I add cooked meat, it's even better, and there's more movement. Taking the kibble out, definitely more movement, and the body is more hydrated. And when I put in raw food and a variety of different proteins, then I feel their bodies just plump up, nourished. The cells are so full, and their skin feels loose, and it feels like it's hydrated once you it's like when you put cream on your face, right? It doesn't feel that harshness of dryness once you just put water on it, you leave it.
Yep.
So it's similar in that way, if you can imagine. So when I tell my clients this, I said, look, if you have any concerns, I work with a holistic veterinarian that actually will create a meal plan specific to your animal. If they have kidney disease, or they've got cancer, or they have some kind of a skin issue with food, she and I work together about that, and I'll send them over to her, and she'll create a meal plan that works. Variety is so important. It is so important. I mean, sure, if you just give them kangaroo and beef, and you just that's a lot better than just giving them beef morning, noon, and night. You've got to rotate the proteins. You've got to make sure that they're getting a certain amount of fat, but not too much, a certain amount of protein, but not too much. And it's all about learning and educating yourselves about food and your animal.
That resonated a lot. And I mean, again, this also applies to people, again, same kind of thing. There was a lot of things coming to mind as you were speaking. The first one is, I think I was watching TV, and there was like a Farmer's Dog commercial, I think it was. And for people that don't know, Farmer's Dog is like one of those like fresh, that has like more fresh things in it in the refrigerated section, the bougie section of the pet food aisle.
The bougie section.
And they said something along the lines of like, would you want to eat the same meal every day for your entire life? And it was like this Rottweiler with the eyebrows looking all sad, like, like he was like so just, and I thought about that, and I was like, oh man, like, I was evaluating what I was feeding with, how I'm feeding my dogs.
No living being should ever eat processed food for every single meal of their life. Good, real food is simple. It looks like food, it smells like food. It's what dogs are supposed to be eating. We really don't want people to think of feeding food like ours as spoiling their dogs.
It's amazing to me how many people write in about their dogs changing for the better. The farmer's dog is just our way to help people take care of them.
Yeah, and then also another story that came to mind, which may be random but relevant. Also, my stories tend to be random but relevant. My mom was talking to me about they have a dog right now, a black lab named Tank, and Tank. She was talking about how he had bad breath or whatever, right? And she's like, oh my God, his breath stinks. It smells just like Ralphie's did. And Ralphie was the golden retriever, rest in peace, that we had before Tank. And I was like, well, Mom, what do you feed Tank? And she's like, oh, same thing, pedigree canned and pedigree dry food. I'm like, well, that's why, hello, you're feeding them literally the same exact thing, getting the same exact issue. At some point, you got to realize it's what you're putting in their mouth that's making their mouth smell like that,
Right, exactly.
So that was just another food thing that came to mind.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. Absolutely. It's when we start thinking, there are dogs I've known that have had horrible cases of mange. And a woman I work with who's another dog nutritionist, just specifically dogs, she takes immediately off of kibble. Well, she transitions them out of kibble. And she gives them the grains that they need, the vegetables that they need. She will make dinners for them as, her own dinners, and she'll make more for them, giving them the nutrients that they need. Mange cleared up, skin issues cleared up, and their fur is always glossy and soft, and it is just, they're just so healthy. And it's, again, your system, your body, your animal's body is going to reflect that of the food that you give them.
Yeah, it's the same for humans. And the point I was going to make that I wasn't sure if I should, but I think it's important, is because we mostly all of us feed our animals and the dry dog food. And so the pet food industry itself is a huge I don't know if scam's the right word, but like what they're putting in there is not good. And there's so many additives and different things. Like I believe it's causing cancer in all the animals. Like they're literally falling sick and ill because of the food and what's put in the food. And it's just a big racket. You know, they're making all this money on these dog foods, and there's no nutrition or real like nutrients in there with all the additives that are.
I would agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm thinking of some food
There's some documentaries out there on it, actually. So if you want to learn more about that, you can find that.
No, that's a very good point, Leslie. And I mean, I've been thinking of a few different of the food recalls that I can remember happening kind of recently. Like one, there were animals passing away from eating a certain brand of food. And it turns out because that brand of food was using animals that were euthanized. So that euthanasia solution was then being transferred to the food. And then the animals eating that food were dying. So you got to be really careful. Like, don't like, I know that it's hard because
the food, like our food is. It's different.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
There's not really regulations and things like that going on.
Well, the thing that I wanted to say was because I don't want to guilt trip anybody about like feeding their animals, because if you're feeding animals, you're doing it from a good place. But like,
absolutely.
Like for example, I just gave the example of feeding our dogs pedigree. That was what I grew up feeding our dogs. But then I learned about reading the ingredients and how like the #1 ingredient listed on the dog food for pedigree was corn. And like what wolves in the wild are munching on some corn cobs? None, right? So like then I switched to a brand of dog food whose #1 ingredient is some kind of meat thing that's listed. So I switched to that thinking that I was doing a good thing. And then like in my mind, I'm like giving them variety by switching from like the chicken flavor versus the beef flavor. But I'm also evaluating the conversation that we're having right now, going like, okay, Allison, you can add a can of peas, you can add some more carrot sticks, you can put in some coconut oil, you can put in some chickpeas, you can do something to add more of that life food that you were talking about, because the closer your food is to the sunlight and the ground that it grew in, the more beneficial it is for your body, for your cells, for your everything. So it's like if you can give them some fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. My dogs love when I cook in the kitchen because I'm always giving them fresh peppers. I'm always cutting the broccoli.
Carrots.
Carrots. Oh my God.
Right,
yes.
broccoli,
Carrots. I feed my dogs the broccoli stalks. I cut the stalks in quarters and give them each one. And yeah, they love it. So I can do better. I can
broccoli.
do better.
Yeah. My cats love steamed broccoli. They love avocado. They, you know, I mean, it's fine it's not their main source of food, obviously, because they're all omnivores, but I give them what they want, what their body is craving. There's a reason why they're craving for this food, because obviously that food has some kind of enzyme, mineral, nutrition content that they may not be getting in their raw, right?
Humans are the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Food should be something more than just putting in your stomach so you don't feel hungry anymore. Food is literally the fuel that your body needs. So give it the right kind of fuel to get the right kind of results.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and given that everything's connected, you know, we're all going to do the best we can, but not everybody can, you know, feed their animal, you know, fresh meat. It's hard sometimes for people to buy that for themselves. So, you know, things like that, you know, but the main thing that I thought about is we could at least be blessing our dogs and cats and animals food. Because if anything, I mean, if that's the least you can do, we should all be doing that. And that really has not occurred to me. You know, I do it for my own, but I should be doing that for my animals as well.
I love you for thinking like that, Leslie. That's great.
Yeah. You know, when I bring home raw food, and I get that I'm in a privileged place that I can afford raw food, but I've also made it as a priority. So I will go without things that I don't necessarily need, but I like to have, and I'll go without in order to give them the food that their body needs. But every time I bring in raw food, I recognize that those are other animals that have given their lives. So I will bless the food. I will bless the turkeys. I'll bless the rabbits or the cows or the kangaroos. You know, say thank you so much for your physical sacrifice so my animals can live healthy, you know, nourishing lives. And I'm grateful.
Love that you do that. And that the kangaroo thing is throwing me off. That's the second time you said kangaroos. I'm like, kangaroos, what?
It is.
All right, Justin.
She gets shipped from Australia, yes.
You are?
No. I live in Canada. I get shipped up from Australia. So when we had the Australian fires, when it just, you know, killed off a lot of kangaroos, there was a kangaroo shortage, you know, like, so we have to be careful of where we source our foods as well, right?
Oh, wow.
All right, let's get another good book question going. Read number 8.
All right, I have one.
Oh,
yeah. All right. Okay. Me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
So you mentioned that animals understand family dynamics.
Oh my God.
Have you ever had an animal reveal something about their human household?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh, spill the tea.
You did tell us the story about the
cat
abusive situation on the last video. I know that.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't remember. You have to understand, I can't remember a lot of the stories that I've told in the book, and I need to reread the book. But one specific one that comes to mind is that there was a family, 2 kids, husband, wife, and the 4 of them were wanting to talk to their cat, I believe. Shoot. I don't also, it's hard for me to
pull
all right. These out because I need to forget them because it's not my conversation. So I've had to go back to videos to get.
Yeah, I remember you saying that before.
Yeah.
Right? Uh-huh.
So I think it was a cat, and all of a sudden the cat saying they're talking about divorce. I'm like, oh, okay. And I knew the 2 kids were there, and I'm like, I need to talk to you guys. It's a bit sensitive, so maybe can you guys move your kids to another area of the house that they can't hear us and get them to play, because they're about 4 or 5 years old. So they got the kids out to another room. And I said, your cat is really upset and is acting out because you guys are talking about separating and divorcing. And they were like floored that I said this and that this is what the cat was listening to. And I said, I don't know if you've told your kids. Like, no, we're just talking. Like, we're not doing well. And we're talking about separating and divorcing. And okay, so I said, well, the cat's upset that she doesn't know where the kids are going to go and where she's going to go and who would she live with and where would the kids go. And she wants to be with the kids. And they had to explain to the cats, like, well, we're not quite there yet, but we promise you, if that does happen, we will let you know how the arrangements are going to work. Okay, because she didn't want to be separated from either of the humans. It's like she wanted to have visitation rights as well. So that was the biggest, like, oh shoot, how do I navigate this one? Yeah.
So were you called in because of some problems with the animal?
Yes.
And that's basically where that's what the symptoms were, is because of what they overheard.
Yeah,
I can't help but think of children in this scenario.
100%.
Animals, but children are the same way, and
they are.
You know, they pick up on these things, and it causes them stress and anxiety. So, yeah,
that's right. And it was because the cat's behavior. Can't remember specifically, but it was getting out of control. It's like because I'm a clinically trained family counselor, and I look at systems. I'm always looking at systems and how things are functioning in the family, whether it's work, education, children, personal life with relationships. I'm always looking in systems. So, and that includes the animals as well. So that's just a symptom. The behavior of the animal is just a symptom of what's actually going on with the family.
Right.
So for someone who's never tried communicating with their animals before, what's one step that they could take today that would help them to communicate with them?
Absolutely. Good question. So I don't know if I did this with you guys last time. If you rub your hands, your hands. Guys, right? You rub your hands, guys. Come on, rub your hands. All right.
Okay,
We're going to create that friction. And what we're doing is activating our energy field. So then I want you to stop, put your hands slightly, like really close together. If you're quiet in your mind, just feel that pulse that goes between your hands.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That is your energy field. And then what you can do is play with this by expanding your hands. Can you feel a softball in your hands? It's all of a sudden round. Okay. If you can't feel it anymore, rub your hands together again. Okay. Make a pyramid in your hands. Can you feel the hard edges? Can you feel the pointy top? Okay. So this is the beginning of communication, is just becoming aware of your energy field to begin with. Now, what I want you to do is rub it again, rub your hands again. And I want you to go from a golf ball, size of a golf ball, Okay, feel the little edges of the golf ball, and I want you to immediately expand into a beach ball and feel that beach ball.
Oh, wow.
If you can't, that's fine. It takes time and practice.
Okay.
And then I want you to now change it into a soccer ball.
Okay.
Okay, so play with this, play with different shapes, but that is just one way to start practicing engaging your energy field. How does this work with communication? Because then you become more aware of your animal's energy field and what they're feeling. Okay, the other thing you can do for your audience is that at nighttime or early in the morning, just before you go to sleep or just before you wake up, it's the easiest time, is to move your thinking, your mind, your thoughts that are revving, move it to your third eye and move that to your heart. You know how much you love your animals.
Mm-hmm.
You feel that love. So move it down to your heart, connect your heart to their heart. Okay. That is such a good beginning. And once you do that and you feel that connection of love, it's the frequency of love from your heart to their heart. That is the beginning of communication with your animal. And just say hi in your mind's eye, because you're connected in your mind's eye, quietly to yourself, from your heart to them, and their third eye and their heart chakra. Hi, I'm just practicing here. Ask them a simple question, whether it's, what's your favorite toy? I know you know this answer already, but the first thing that comes to mind, don't negate it. That is your answer. And this is where people struggle. So I have a girlfriend of mine I was practicing this with 10 years ago, 12 years ago, can't remember. 12 years ago now. We were practicing and she asked my cat, what's your favorite food? And she said, Karen, the first thing that came to mind, and this sounds so weird, are scrambled eggs. Well, sure enough, scrambled eggs are one of my cat's favorite food. But she said, this is so weird. I don't even want to say it. And I said, say it anyway. Scrambled eggs. Like, that's it. So don't negate your first answer.
Trust what comes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Love that exercise. Thank you. I think that's something easy that people can grab onto,
It's the same thing with remote viewing. I mean, it's normally the first thing that pops into your mind is what's true.
That's right. Exactly. I love this
Trust your
conversation.
gut, right?
It's so fun. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
All right, Karen, in your book, you ask readers to reconsider what they think they know about life, death, and animals. So what's one belief you've once had that completely changed throughout your course of being an animal communicator or telepath?
I always believed in life after death, but I had no idea how that happened. I would say the biggest growth for me and the biggest change for me before working with death and dying in animals to now is that the belief that once the body dies, that's it, even though I had this concept of life after death, but not really understanding what that meant. And I talk about how, in the book, Digby taught me. She taught me that when she was dying or just about to die, that you're just taking off your coat. So if you think of our physical body as just a coat and you're stepping out of it, and I talk about this, I explain all this, and is that I don't change. The core of who I am does not change, and that is your soul. And I'm able to feel my soul pulsing in my body every time I tune into it, and I can feel it. It's like, that is the truth of who I am. This is just the personification. Karen Wickerson is just the personification of my soul, of who I chose to be this lifetime. So when I hear that somebody has died or I am experiencing an animal dying, it's completely different now for me. And I have peace with it because I can feel and sense that energy just transforming from physical to a state of just pure energy. And it's like, oh, okay. I am way more at peace around death. I am way more at peace about the process of it. So I'd say for me, that's the biggest growth that I got from the animals. And I keep getting the same pictures, the same understanding, the same guidance and wisdom of the animals for their experiences. Now, some animals are new souls and they don't understand the process and they're just going through it for the first time.
Okay.
And then there's other animals that have been through it hundreds of times. It's like, oh, not a big deal. Yeah.
Wow.
I love that lesson came through animal communication. So profound.
Me too. Yeah.
So what do animals want their humans to know when they are grieving? How can we best honor them after they've passed?
Are you talking about animal companions? The ones that are left behind? Okay. So the best thing that you can do for those animals is that if you can have somebody come in to help, you know, if you believe in euthanization, letting them go in a humane way. If you believe in that, great. If you don't and you believe in the natural way, that's fine too. But include the other animals in that so they have an understanding of what's happening. And the reason I say that is because they can smell before anybody else. They can actually smell the cell changes in their animal friend's body.
Mm-hmm.
They can detect something is going on, and they actually have conversations between the two of them. Hey, buddy, I'm so sorry. I think my body's giving out. I can't hold on much longer. I'm going to start acting in certain ways that'll tell my humans that I'm not well. And they will actually have conversations about what that looks like and what that means. And some animals don't take it well, other animals do. So if you take your animal to a veterinarian, bring the body back home. Okay, this is really important. Bring the body back home so your other animals can smell. Smelling is so important. I had 2 rabbits. This goes back to 2013. I had 2 rabbits, and one rabbit died, and I brought his body back. Unexpectedly died at the vets. I brought his body back so his mate could smell him. And she spent 20 minutes hopping around him, smelling him, booping her nose against him. 20 minutes later, she just hops away. Like, okay, I'm good. No grieving whatsoever.
Because she got the chance to understand what happened.
Exactly. It's not like he just
goodbye.
Yeah, you got a chance to say goodbye. Oh, I understand this. Oh, okay, this is natural. Got it. All right. That was it.
Yeah, that's basically what we did with our last 2 puppies that passed away. Is, you know,
we gave the other animals a chance to digest what occurred.
Right.
It's so important. I mean, how would we like it if all of a sudden somebody takes our sibling or our parent or our spouse, just takes them away, and we don't even get a chance to say goodbye? Can you imagine the depth of grief and loss?
Yeah, and confusion, you know, there could be a lot of confusion and stress and anxiety in that as well. I mean, they might know because they are telepathic, so, but just not given that opportunity or natural chance to.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good question.
Thanks. Leslie, I have a question. Do you want to take an opportunity to ask one?
I do have one. What new trends or developments do you foresee in the field of animal communication and energy healing in the coming years?
Oh, I love that. That's so great. It's already beginning to happen where people's abilities are turning on. People are becoming more aware of their animals, treating them like equals, not just projecting. I know there's a word for it,
anthropomorphize.
Thank you. It's not just that. It's actually understanding that they are our equals, and people are treating them as equals and seeing them as part of our family and not just something to be owned, not just something to be like a car or just another object. Like these are our companions that walk the earth with us because they're choosing to. So I'm seeing that in leaps and bounds. I'm also seeing more people turning on their abilities to communicate. So in the coming years, I see more and more of that, and I see more equal treatment of animals and animals' rights. That's what I'm seeing now. Huge difference than 10 years ago.
Love that. And I'm wearing my shirt that says "Stop Animal Exploitation Now." I got this when I did a little animal protest demonstration across the street from the University of Florida. I just want to say also that I hope that people extend this same compassion and empathy and understanding and equalness to the animals that are in labs, because as we speak right now, there are dogs, there are cats, there are monkeys, there are rats, there are rabbits, there are all kinds of animals that are suffering immensely. And I feel like we're at the point. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, animal testing. And I mean, I'm a graduate of the University of Florida. That's my alumni. And I was flabbergasted because I went to that school to learn to be a veterinarian. I was there for an animal biology major. That's not what I ended up graduating with, but that's besides the point. FU chemistry. But I was flabbergasted to learn that the University of Florida had like hundreds of beagles, like the dog breed beagles, somewhere on the campus that they were testing, like lab testing. And I was like, what? This has been happening under my nose. Are you fucking serious? Like, how can they have a vet school and then an animal lab? All like it just, anyways. So yes, please let's extend the compassion to the guinea pigs and the monkeys and the rats and all the other animals that are there. I feel like as a species, we should know enough by now that we don't need to do that anymore, just based on the compassion and empathy alone, let alone like science. Like if I have to choose between wearing some eyeliner or a rabbit not suffering, I'll, F the eyeliner. I'd rather that rabbit live happy.
Yeah, and I don't mean to jump backwards a little bit, but I'm gonna, on your point with the animal testing, I'm wondering, like, is the animal testing because we're adding horrible, weird things to stuff, and that's what they're testing? I mean, just stop doing all that. Just do stuff that naturally is going to be okay. You don't have to test anything because it's like nature.
Yeah.
And then to go back with the food, as far as raw food and animals and all that, there are some things that animals shouldn't have. Like I'm pretty sure onions, dogs shouldn't have onions.
No.
So there's something you want to look into that before you just start throwing.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, onions, garlic, chocolate.
Avocados, raisins, grapes.
Yeah, avocados. Look, my cats will eat the skin and the meat when I'm not looking, and I accidentally leave it out on the counter. But they don't eat the pit. Thank goodness, because it's toxic. And everything in moderation. But yes, you bring up a really good point, Leslie. Yeah. Make sure you take a look at the food list of what they cannot eat and just not give it to them.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to jump one more thing because I lost the thought, but animals can actually sense if their human is sick. You know what I mean? They will give you signs where they're sniffing or they're doing things, like, so you can be aware of that too, because they are able to like pick up on things like that. And so to help, make sure everybody's
Sure. There's studies with dogs.
Just like they can with their animal friends and brothers and sisters.
Dogs. There's studies, and I think there's even a documentary out where they're training dogs to sniff out cancer.
Yep.
Yes, that's right.
People.
Yep.
Yeah, and they are accurate.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, a medical detection dog is a dog that can smell disease, and it sounds incredible, doesn't it? It almost sounds too much to believe, but dogs have got this incredible sense of smell. I mean, they have 300 million sensory receptors in their olfactory epithelium. It seems that every single disease causes a change in our biochemistry, and these dogs are just waiting to tell us. My life changed 9 years ago when my bladder cancer detector dog warned me that I had breast cancer. And my surgeon told me, had my dog not warned me about it, that my prognosis would have probably been very poor. I knew my life had been saved by my dog, and I wanted to be able to transfer this knowledge. When medical detection dogs first started, everybody thought that, my vision was to have dogs sniffing around men, and it just wasn't going to work like that. What Andreas Motion and his team are going to do is build a robotic nose that is going to detect odours in the way that the dog does, or perhaps even better in the future.
That's the dream. We do not understand exactly how the dogs do it. There's many theories, and it's probably none of them is exactly right, but that's what the work is. And understanding how the dogs do it will actually allow us to understand much deeper, not only how to make a machine, but also what is really going on under it. One thing that really compelled me to change my entire direction of my lab 14 years ago was when I saw that medical detection dogs in the UK, Claire Guest's work, showed that dogs that were trained to detect one type of cancer, let's say bladder cancer, would spontaneously trigger on other types of cancer.
Bladder cancer was actually the first disease we trained dogs to find. But since that time, we've found that many, many other diseases have unique odours, and in fact, some of them are more easily detectable by a dog. Now we know dogs can smell the prostate cancer in urine. We're doing a lot of work with Parkinson's disease at the moment. Dogs seem to be able to smell Parkinson's really easily, just from a swab taken from across the forehead or the back of the neck. Now, the dog can't explain to us what prostate cancer smells like, but actually we can't explain to each other what an odour's like. And as Andreas says often to me, try and describe what lavender smells like. I can't. So that isn't actually unique to the dog. But what we can ask the dog is we can ask the dogs questions. We can ask the dog, how sure are you this is cancer? How cancery does this smell? Is it very strong, or is it a weak form of the odour?
Understanding how dogs can diagnose cancer earlier, faster, cheaper, and with more specificity and selectivity than any hospital test. That should upset everybody. I am in my lab thinking if a dog can do it, I should be able to do it better. So that's where we are. Okay, and that PCF allows us to do this.
When you work with a biosensor that has a fluffy coat and a waggy tail, it's very, very easy for people to be sceptical. The PCF have given us this opportunity. They've believed in us to look further into this. We don't know what the answer will be, but we do know there's something here that we should be investigating.
Absolutely. I will tell. It was interesting. I have a neighbor, and she had, before he died, he was telling me that the baby inside her is not doing well because he could sniff the change of blood chemicals, that it was going bad. And I asked my neighbor, are you okay? Because she did seem off. I said, are you okay? And she goes, no, I'm not doing okay. And she told me that, you know, she didn't feel well and she thinks something was wrong with the baby and she ended up miscarrying.
Oh,
so,
wow.
You know, it pay attention. You know, if they're looking at a certain area of your body all the time and they're sniffing that body part all the time, pay attention.
They'll boop it too. They'll like push on it. They'll like do some weird shit to get your attention. So you're like, what are you doing that for? Why are you paying such attention right here? Yeah, there was I remember seeing a news story where a guy's dog kept doing that. It turns out he had cancer in his stomach or something, and the dog saved his life because the dog drew the owner's attention to that spot where previously
to go get checked, basically.
Yes,
absolutely. I want to go back to animals in laboratories. It is horrific what they do to the animals. If we take it the 70,000 foot etheric spiritual view, these animals had a soul choice to do this as well. Okay. I know.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
I know this is really tough. I know this is. And this book, I tell you, this book challenged my thinking in many ways.
And I'm here for the lessons. Go ahead.
But we are here to listen. But because we have soul contracts, these are souls that are coming into this body that they know ahead of time are going to be doing these things. For whatever their soul's evolution, growth, experience, maybe they're of service to the people who are doing this work. Meaning, hey, can I nudge you into the place where this needs to stop? Where's your empathy? Where's your compassion? Where's your critical thinking in terms of whether or not this should be happening? So maybe it's these animals are coming in to try and prompt those people to stop the testing if they can tune into their humanity. Maybe it's something about the way in which they die that the soul needed, or the torture that the soul needed. Who knows? Maybe it's to say, okay, I'm going to suffer this so I can be of service to the lab technicians or the students in whatever way. I don't know. And if it can help, there are reasons. They don't just come into a body and this is what's happening. There are reasons why the souls come into these bodies to be tested upon. It doesn't take away from the fact it's horrific.
Yeah. So I'm sure, there's probably lots of little different purposes and reasons. But I mean, in reality, the real purpose for this, using them, is for humans to make sure that nothing is going to hurt humans. Although I think it's all just a bunch of, BS. And they're still putting just everything that still causes but sickness and things like that. But it's to save the humans in the first place. You know what I mean? So they are being sacrificed to make sure whatever comes into human use, that it's going to be okay. So the overall thing, they are doing a service there. But yes, I do feel like we are spiritual beings having a temporary human experience and or animal experience and or plant experience. You know, like we're all having these experiences in different ways, and it's evolution. And so when these people who are in these, you know, giving these animals, hurting these animals in these labs, you know what I mean? Like in their review, I think they're going to feel their life review, I should say, when they cross over. And so there's learning that's going to be had there. And overall, through generations or, you know, time or whatever, things are going to learn and evolve from all the mistakes that were ever made. You know what I mean?
I totally agree with you, Leslie. Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah. And no matter what, everything really is okay. You know what I mean? Because we are becoming more aware that we're here, we're learning, and we're spiritual beings. You know what I mean? Like, we're eternal.
Right.
God, this is such a hard lesson for me. Like, and it's like I know all these things already. Like, I know these animals come in with soul contracts, and I know that, like, on a grander, more cosmic scale, like they know what they're coming in here to do and to teach us. But at the same time, it's like I cannot separate myself from their suffering. Like, I cannot.
Oh, it's hard.
I think like you're there, Allie. You know, you're where a lot of people still need to evolve too. You know what I mean? So that's the change that's occurring, is that more and more people are going to feel and think the way that you do, and these things won't be happening as much, hopefully.
If animals could leave humanity with one universal message, what do you think it would be?
It would be, we are equals. Just because we can't form words doesn't mean that we are lesser than. We are here to serve. We are here to be for humanity and others. We are all connected. We are all one. And to treat us as equals.
Mm.
And that was the main message throughout the whole book that I got, is like, we are equals. Wake up, people. We are equals.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful message. And I totally, I love to hear that from the animals, but I could not help but think of the nonverbal autistics when you said that, because they are also equals. You know what I mean? And just because they are not using, you know, words to express, I mean, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, exactly.
I have a special space in my heart for, you know, people with autism. So, just say that.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. I get it. Do you guys
do animals have autism and things like that? I just had that thought all of a sudden.
You know what I wonder too? How many animals are walking around like me? Like if I didn't have my glasses, I couldn't see 4 inches in front of my face. So like, how many animals are walking around needing glasses?
Right. Look,
Is that a good thing?
All four of us are wearing glasses.
All animals can't have perfect vision. If they do, like, how'd that work out?
I think that is a really good question. So when working with animals that are having eye difficulties, or somebody will say, you know what, my dog can't seem to jump in the car properly, or they can't seem to see, like they know something's wrong, but not quite. What I will be able to tell them exactly what their body's showing me, in that, well, it's a bit dark on the left side of their left eye. You know, you may want to go get that checked out. And, you know, 8-9 times out of 10, there is something, there is something that is coming up around their eye. Now, I've had to work with a few dogs, not that many, but under 5 in the last 12 years I've been doing this, where they're dogs whose eyes have growths in them, and they're so painful, and they're not benign growths. Well, one was, a couple weren't. And the dogs were expressing the amount of pain that they were in, that they just couldn't play anymore. They couldn't function anymore. Their human guardians were getting stressed out. They didn't know what to do. And when I went into the animal's body and saw out of their eyes, I could feel the pain. It was like right in the middle between, like if you take a cross section, right in the middle of it. And then when I took these growths out and took the eyeballs out, the whole body just relaxed and they were able to play again. So I've had 3 dogs whose eyes were removed, and they were no more in pain. They weren't in pain anymore. And they were playing like puppies again. but they see through their third eye. This is what we keep forgetting. They see through their third eye. They develop those senses. They understand, or they have a dog companion or cat companion that will help them through the house, right? And they read our energies through the leash when you're taking them on walks. They will follow you. So, you know, that's just one question. Around the autism, I haven't had that. So I'm not saying it doesn't exist, considering all the elements and the toxins that are in our food and water. That's a good question. I have no idea.
I mean, I guess it would present differently in an animal as well. You know
I would think so. I
remember seeing a tiger that had, oh God, I'm going to mess it up. Down syndrome. But there was a tiger that had Down syndrome, but that was in a incest case. Like it was like an inbreeding thing. Yeah. And it had, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look it up.
Okay. So Starla.
Yay. So let's tell our audience what we're about to do. You want to explain it?
Go for it.
Okay, so basically, as you already know, Karen is an animal communicator telepath, and we came up with the idea of having her read one of my dogs. The question she asked was, you know, which dog do you have the most things going on with right now? And we both in unison said Starla. So Karen is about to read Starla and let us know what's going on with her. So I am very enthusiastic to hear this.
Okay, so right now, Justin took a picture of Starla earlier on. I'm taking a look at her so I can read her energy signature, because we, just like fingerprints, we have a unique energy signature. So for me, I look into her face, I look into her arms, I hook into the energy signature. Once I do that, my glasses come off. For some reason, they have to come off. And then I'm now going to spend about 15 to 30 seconds introducing myself and explaining what's happening, and ask her permission if she wants to do this, okay? And if she doesn't, we're not going to. If she does, we're going to do a quick conversation and see what we can help her with. All right, so just bear with me here, please.
Sure.
Okay, so I've introduced myself, and I asked her permission. I said, I've got both your parents, because I always call mom and dad and Leslie here. So I've got both your parents here and Leslie here, and we're talking in front of an audience as well. People are going to be watching this. And I said, would you like to participate? And she said, yes, I think we have some things to talk about, and I think it's time. So where would either one of you like to start first? And remember, I'm just the telephone between you and Starla. Okay, so anything that I see, hear, and feel is what she's seeing, hearing, and feeling. Okay. And if something does not make sense, you have to tell me, because there's a lot of stuff coming at me at once, and I have to interpret that all into English to make sense for you guys. So if something doesn't make sense, please let me know so I can ask. I can tune into more questions that will become clearer. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. All right. So go ahead. Whatever your first question is.
Does she understand what's going on with her? And does she understand that I'm trying to help her? Is that too non-specific?
No, that works. I'm just listening, and I'm going into her body right now, and I'm asking permission to do that.
Okay.
She goes, yes, I completely understand what's going on with my body. I'm getting old. And she's showing me, and I get this a lot, she's showing me a picture of an old grandma with a cane, her hand on the hips, and it's like, I am having a hard time walking. My body is aching. She's like, my hips I don't seem to have much control over my hips. And they keep collapsing from side to side. So as I'm moving my body, it's like, it's giving. I'm not saying that she's collapsing completely on herself, but she's like, and I'm moving towards my left side of her body. So that tells me it's more in her left hip or the joints or the lower spine. I'm not a veterinarian again, guys. So you need to go to your vet if you're concerned at all. And I'm saying this for your audience members as well. So I'm feeling it more towards the lower part in the spine and left hip, and it wants to go downward. Does this make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay. So in terms of the spine itself, from neck to lower body, things seem to be okay. For a gal her age. How old is she? Because she seems to be an old gal.
She's like 13, I think 14 maybe.
I'm feeling that between the 13 and 15-year-old. And so between the base of her neck, lower body, like it's okay, like from the upper part.
Yeah, the upper part.
It's fine. It's like from the middle of the back, I can start to feel and sense that's like not great, but not bad. But it's closer to the front of the hips and definitely to the base where the tail.
Yeah.
Not so great. And the tail joint, I want to say, that connects to the spine, that may need an adjustment. I would say if you have a chiropractor that works with animals, to have an adjustment done in that lower region. And it's interesting that all of a sudden my throat chakra is really getting congested and I'm coughing up a lot. So I'm going to tune into that in a second with her.
Okay.
Okay, what else is going on here, sweetie? Your eyes. I'm going to check your eyes. She's showing me her eyes. So what's going on? I'm looking through your eyes, and I can't see out. I can't really see out of my left eye, and I can only see from the bottom half of her right eye. Does this make sense?
Yeah, again, you nailed it.
Okay.
She can't see shit.
So she's kind of like everything is really milky. Like I can't see out. Like I can see light and I can see shapes, but she has to actually look. If she's going to look up, she's got to look up in order for the bottom right of her eye to be able to see what's going on. She can't just raise her eyeballs up. It's like, oh, okay. Or she has to fully turn to, like, if she's going to look behind her, she's got to look because it's the bottom right eye that's not functioning. Her hearing, let me go into her ears. My left ear feels heavier, which always tells me that it's damper, like meaning like it's dampening sound. Does that make sense? Because right ear is okay, but left ear's not so great in terms of hearing. How does that ring true for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So in terms of her wrists, fine. Elbows, old lady elbows, but she's good. Knees, not so great. They're inflamed. They're sore. I feel heat. And ankles as well. I feel heat around them as well. Okay. So you've got some inflammation there, which is not surprising at her age. In terms of mouth, gums, teeth, and what I'm doing is that I'm checking her teeth, then her gums, and the rest of her mouth.
Okay.
Okay, so the left side of her mouth has got a little heat around the gums, around her teeth. The right side, cooler, but still a bit inflamed. I'm not concerned about like, oh, anything's got to be removed. That's not what I'm concerned about. I don't have that concern. It's not like glaring red, like, I need to go to a, dentist.
Okay.
But if you're concerned, please do. Tongue feels cool and good. Mouth in healthy shape. Nose, great.
Okay.
So that's the physical. Now, do you have any, so in terms of, sweetie, do you understand what's going on? Of course I understand. I live in this body. Of course I understand. So, okay. She wants to know if there's any specific questions that you have for her.
Is there anything that she feels I can be doing more or in addition to what I'm already trying to do for her?
I'd love a hot water bottle or an electric blanket or a heating pad for my lower back, please.
You got it. Enough said. I can do that. Very cool.
Is there anything else that you would like, Mom?
Do you have any questions?
By the way, she's saying Mom thinks of everything. She loves me so much. She thinks of everything. There's nothing that I want other than some heat on my back.
Hey, I can do that. That's an easy
Allie's
request.
a great animal mom.
Aw, thank you.
I'm wondering if she feels worried or, like how does she feel with her, changes that are happening?
Yeah, that's a good question.
In general, but I'm just
asking her right now. How do you feel about the changes that are happening? Look, it's a natural process of life. I knew this was going to happen. I knew this day was going to come. It's not like you can get out of this life without feeling physical aches and pains as it ages. It was expected. I just don't like going through it personally. She's like, I can't imagine anybody liking it because it's not for the fate of heart. She's saying like it takes courage and it takes guts to live in an aging body. It's like, so how do I feel about it? I'm not happy about it. I miss my younger body. I miss being able to chase things. I miss being able to run. Like she's showing me how when she was younger, she would just bolt down a park or something like that. Like she's
like a bull in a china shop.
Oh yeah, right.
She's like, I am just gusting for it. Like I'm just giving it full on gusto and sprinting across that lawn. She showed me how much she loved the wind in her face. And she said, I was flying. And how she's demonstrating. My body is demonstrating how she experiences them. I was flying. I was badass. I was so cool. And I enjoyed life. And my mom gave me an amazing life. And she still is. I miss that. I really miss that. And she's saying it's not the same. And this is why I'm laughing because it's it's such a really cute image. She's saying, can you put me in a little wagon or something and pull me or put me on a bike and ride the bike so I can feel that wind or put me in the car and me.
I thought about a fan, but that's funny.
No, I want to be moving. Moving and feeling that wind against my face again and through my fur and my ears.
I'm smiling from ear to ear because I intuitionally picked up on that like a couple months ago. I said to him, I'm like, we need one of them little red wagon things. I'm like, we need something to put her in with a bunch of blankets and walk her around the block because I feel like she needs a change of environment, sniff some different air and, get out the house.
And she actually showed me, before you even said that, Ali, she actually showed me goggles. And the old pilot's hat, like goggles and the scarf wrapped around her neck, and in a little red wagon.
Oh wow! So that seems like a validation of y'all's connection.
Yes. Wow, that's amazing. I thought of one specific question as we were talking. I haven't heard her voice in a while.
Well, that's not true.
Well,
we haven't heard her bark really loud at like somebody.
Noises, but I wasn't sure if it had something to do with her hearing or why doesn't she bark anymore?
She whines and
cries, but she doesn't like bark. Like she doesn't go outside and
yeah. And guess what? I've been having. I said at the beginning, I'm having.
That's right.
Throat chakra.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let me just tune into that and talk to her as I'm tuning into her throat.
Okay.
Oh my God, I didn't think. Okay, sorry.
My voice isn't strong anymore. I don't want to bark. I'd like to bark, but I don't want to bark. It's put strain on my vocal cords. She's like, I whimper and I whine because it's a lot. It puts less stress on my vocal cords or whatever, like the voice box, the vocal cords. It puts less stress on my throat and my voice if I whimper and whine versus barking. And I can feel the barking coming up, and it's very harsh. So it's kind of like, when we have a cold and we have a sore throat and we're coughing and coughing and coughing and we can't swallow, like that for us humans, when we have that kind of a sore throat cold, it feels like that. It's very rough. It's very raw. Not that she's sick. I'm not saying she's sick. I'm saying it's got that feeling when she barks.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes total sense. It really does.
Another follow-up question, and this will be the last one if you need it to be. She does do the whale singing a lot. Like, does that mean that she's just like forgetting where she is, or that she wants something, or is she just doing it because she likes doing it? Like, what's with the whale calls?
it sounds like whales too. Like she's.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So is it because I'm not lost?
Oh,
I'm singing.
Oh,
I'm singing. She's like, I'm singing to the angels. You call it whale songs. I call it angel language.
Oh.
I'm singing with the angels.
Oh, I got chills.
OMG.
Yeah. She's the second dog in the last month who's actually singing to angels.
Really?
Well, there's angels around me all the damn time because this dog is forever like.
Is that a sign of transition happening like sooner than later, or is that just
maybe
like a connection of like how?
No, I just do it because they work so hard for us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's her gratitude angel song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
And she
gosh.
said, you brought up the subject of transition, Leslie. My humans will know when I'm ready to go because I will stop eating. I will have no interest in food.
Oh.
Oh. Okay.
Well, okay, that is good to know.
She still has a
Very
really
healthy
good
appetite. Yeah. So I'm glad. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She's not like actively or constantly in pain or anything like that we can tell. I mean, she's happy other than the fact that she's getting old and can't see.
Mhm.
You know. I mean, you're spot on with her hip, and everything that. Yeah, I mean, you're spot on. This is crazy.
Does she have
Yeah, and you
any,
guys say that she bumps into walls, and you know.
Well, we got her a halo. We got her one of those. We got her one of those halo things so that she can, sense the wall before she bumps her head into it.
She's showing it to me, and she goes, "I really appreciate it. It's actually given me more freedom than I thought it would." I didn't like it at first. She goes, "No, what the heck is this contraption? What are they doing? What are they doing to me?" Because I thought it was some kind of a torture thing, but it didn't ring true because they would never do that to me. She goes, "Now I understand the purpose, and it gives me more freedom, and it gives me more confidence, and I appreciate that." So again, Mom, you think of everything. Thank you, Dad. I love you both so much. And she's showing me the amount of love that she has, and it extends, like it's beyond. And it's a really neat, it's like a cylinder tube of gold yellow from the heart chakra to you, even though it's green, but this is gold.
Oh my gosh, Karen, you're a freaking angel yourself. This is great.
Yeah.
I just call it as I see it. What can I say?
Aw, thank you.
Do you guys have any last minute questions before I come out of this?
Does she still talk to Gretchen?
I talk to her all the time.
What about Monkey and Boo?
Now that they're in, are they in spirit? Because she said now that they're in spirit.
Yeah.
Okay. She goes, now that they're in spirit, I talk to them all the time. I don't stop talking to them. They don't bother me as much.
Okay.
In physical form, they bothered me all the time. They bugged me. I didn't like it. We got along fine, but it's like I could take it or leave them now. They're it's all good now.
Oh my God, that's totally true.
That's good. I love that. That's amazing.
That's so great, guys.
That was such a great reading because so are you ready for me to like give all of my thoughts on everything that was said? Because Justin already gave a little bit of it, but
yeah, please go ahead. I'm just saying goodbye to her and thank you very much.
Oh.
Is she still sleeping?
No, she's laying there. I don't think she's sleeping.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I've had this dog since she was like yay big.
Aww.
Long story short, I'll just keep it like towards the most recent stuff. A few years ago, this is when I was still living in Gainesville, so probably many years ago, she was diagnosed with arthritis in where her spine meets her hip. Because I noticed that she started carrying one of her legs. She would just randomly start limping around and carrying one of her back legs.
Her left leg.
Her left leg. And I took her to the vet thinking that she broke her knee or something. Right. But when Dr. Ed did x-rays, he was like, no, she's just got, and he had a name for it, spina something. I forget. I feel stupid for not remembering it. But anyways, it was some sort of condition where the spine meets the hip, she's got arthritis. And that has just like gotten worse over time. It's like she goes through ebbs and flows. Like, and just I want to preface to say that I give her 3 little glucosamine things every day. Like I'm trying to help her with that. We give her massages. I carry her in and out of the house. I carry her up and on down to the bed. I carry her up and onto the couch. But I
mean, she can still walk.
Yeah, she can still walk, but she has
easier for us to carry her.
Good weeks and bad weeks where like sometimes she's using all 4 legs and she's limping around and she's getting around. And then there are other times where she's carrying that 3rd leg and she can't use it at all. So everything you said with from the middle of the back being problem, spot.
Wow.
Perfect.
Wow.
Now, when it comes to her head, a while back, she got an eye injury to one of her eyes, lost sight in that one, still had vision out of the other one. And then slowly over time, it seems like it happened in like one weekend. Like all of a sudden she just wasn't seeing anything anymore. And she was like walking around, bumping into walls, getting lost into corners. And I'm like, I can't sit here and watch my dog bang her face into the wall. So that's why we got the halo thing.
Right.
And at first she freaking hated it. She was like trying to like,
right.
But then over time she learned that the thing bumps the wall so that her face doesn't have to. That's why I got it. So I'm like, I'm trying to think of all these things. So like I got her the glucosamine for the arthritis. I got her the halo because she can't see. I put eye drops in her bad eye like 3 or 4 times a day, as many times as I can remember. So yes, I do think of everything.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. And have you guys given me any history on Starlove before this?
No. The only thing that we provided Karen was
the picture.
pictures. That's it.
It was just the picture of her face.
Oh, and her name and 2 pictures.
Right.
That's all we provided. I didn't tell her
not even her age.
I didn't tell her her age, any of her symptoms, none of her history, any of that. So you guys just witnessed it live firsthand, and Karen doing an amazing spot on animal communication reading. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that insight, because I'm sitting here like helicopter momming her through like every waking moment, even her sleeping moments. I'm helicopter momming her, and I'm like, man, I hope she understands that I'm not doing this to be a pain in the ass. I'm doing it because I love her. You know,
she knows that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. That's a relief.
Yeah, and she still gives us kisses all the time. So
yeah, and I can tell. Like I feel like when it comes in time for her transition, I had that gut feeling that like I'll know. Like she'll tell me. Like I won't have to guess. She's gonna tell me. She's that kind of bull in a china shop, headstrong kind of dog.
Oh,
and I know that when she knows, she'll let me know, and then we'll just handle it then. But
yeah,
exactly.
Wow, you are freaking
That's amazing.
That
Thank you.
Yes.
You got the hips, you got the eyes, you got that one ear that she keeps scratching.
And the throat, and the barking.
And the barking in the throat.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because she used to barrel her way out to the backyard, running full speed, like a freaking bull in a china shop. I keep saying that, but that's how
and then the wagon for her to like suggest doing something like that because of her love for the wind, you know, and you had the same thought and talk, you know, like that's validation of the.
She loves sitting. She loves sitting in the yard, you know, with the sun beating down, and
we got to get a wagon.
Yeah, we need to get a
Gotta
wagon.
get her little red radio.
Is she able to stick her head out of the window of a car or no?
That's right.
Yeah,
she can.
She could do that. If we get
that would really get the win for her. I feel like that.
For sure.
Dogs love doing that in general because something about the rush of air up through their nose gets them like a high or some sort.
And she can't run anymore, so that would really help.
She cannot run. No, running is out of her.
And she's missing it. I can feel the longing for it.
I'm sure. So we got to get her moving. We got to get some wind flowing on that face. Thank you,
Absolutely.
God, see, this is the beautiful benefits of animal communication, you guys. You get an inside scoop on what your animal is thinking, feeling, perceiving, and needing. What more do you want from an animal communicator? Oh my God.
Light therapy. That's what kept coming up for me for Starla.
Light therapy.
Have you guys heard of LifeWave?
Like the chakra lights?
No.
LifeWave
patches.
What is that?
I've been using them. Do I have one on me? Yeah, I do. Damn it. Anyways, can you give me like 15 seconds?
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
just hold on, because this is important. It's for humans. I use it for animals, but just bear with me, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
LifeWave. What is that?
Yes.
Okay.
These are non-transdermal, next level photo light therapy. How this works is that in this white patch are nanocrystals, saline solution, and proteins, that amino acids that specifically are made for different parts of the body. This is their flagship stem cell regenerator. What it does is that when you put it on your body like that, I have one on my foot right now.
Okay.
The back end, which is like this, I'm not going to take, well, I can, I'm just not going to use it.
Okay.
So you put it on, like, that's the back end. This is a sticky part.
Okay.
Okay.
So
What
it's like
happens?
a nicotine patch.
Exactly. But it's non-transdermal. How it happens is that then when you've got it on your skin, like that, when you got it on your skin, the heat of your body then activates and heats up the crystals, the saline solution, the amino acids. That then emits frequencies and light of that particular nanocrystal.
Okay.
It goes back into your body. That light, that frequency, that vibration goes back into your body and it activates a specific copper peptide. Okay. That copper peptide is the building block of stem cells.
Oh.
Wow.
It is basically a reversal of aging.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
I looked it up on Amazon already.
You can buy them on Amazon.
Now
Yeah.
I'll set you, if you're interested, I'll set you up an account. But the issue for me around the animals is that because I use it for my joints, I use it for anything, any kind of thing. I use it for my cat Curious, who has polyneuropathy, and that means that she doesn't have any feeling in her legs, in her back legs, and she can't feel the bottoms of her paws, and so she actually does collapse. She's had this since she was a kitten, and I've been giving her the X39 patches every day, and she's more stable. She has more feeling. It's not 100%, but it's just because the nerves, there's a patch for nerves, like the endocrine system. There's one for heart and lungs. There's one for bones. There's one for sleep.
Wow.
There's one for energy. There's ones for, like, there's a whole myriad of them.
I can't believe I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
Is this like a new thing?
No, it's been around for 20 years. No, 10 years. 10 years or 20 years.
I'm thinking this came out like yesterday.
And the guy actually developed it for his buddies who are Navy SEALs, and they were, upping and downing and all arounding so they could stay awake. And he saw that his buddies were like suffering. And because this guy is like otherworld genius, he's figured out how light can heal. And so he created this whole line for his Navy SEAL buddies.
Wow.
And his name is David Schmidt, a remarkable man. And he's now creating a whole water system where it actually embeds light into the water. You only need it takes 45 minutes to create 1 cup of water, but that's all you need in a day to heal the cells, to bring light into your cells, and to reverse age. So with that and the patches, it's an amazing combination. That's not out yet, but it will be happening by end of this year or next. This guy is other world. Now, I am saying this for Starla because you can put it on her collar. So you put the sticky part on the underside of her collar, right? So it would be like, if this is the collar, I'm putting it like this. So when so when the collar's on, it's like against her.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not going to be the outside of the collar. It's going to be on the inside of the collar.
Sure.
And you can have against her body.
Mm-hmm.
And there are thermal imaging. There's thermal imaging that I can send you on horses from before and 10 minutes after of putting these patches on the body, and the inflammation that goes down and the reduction of pain. So I'll send that copper peptides out to you guys, and you can then forward it on to Leslie. And if you're interested, I can sign you up and create your own accounts, so you can then do whatever you will with it. There's different ones, as I said, for lungs, bones, heart, for sleep, for energy, for there's so much. I can't even name them all.
Wow.
Amazing stuff.
That is. Is it okay? Oh, go ahead.
No, one more story is is that there is a kid and his mom, kid is in his mid-20s, for me, a kid, that he actually was brain dead because of a car accident. And it was decided that he was clinically brain dead. And the mom decided, I'm going to put these X39, X49, all the patches for nerve rejuvenation. And the doctor said, you can do whatever you want. they didn't believe in it. Well, a year and a half later, he's now walking, talking, driving a car, going to school. He came back from being brain dead.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
If that's not a freaking miracle.
No kidding.
Wow.
It's because of stem cells. Now, Health Canada and FDA says you can't use the word stem cells, but that's what it's doing. It's helping the body. It's activating the copper peptides that then create the stem cells. So this technically does not create stem cells.
It creates the stuff that makes the stem cells.
It activates the
exactly.
So it's like a step removed, so that I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say put it on. I don't know how well or how long her fur is, but if you could put it on her hips, the X39, that'll be a really good start. Or put it on her collar, and just remember it's 12 hours a day from the moment you wake up to the moment you go back to bed.
Okay.
And then you put a new patch on. You take it off before you go to bed. You put a new patch on when you wake up.
So 12 on, 12 off. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. And for humans, if you want it for yourselves for whatever reason, any aches, pains, joints, whatever, you have to wear it for at least a month for every decade that you've been alive. So I committed to 7 months. It's been now a year and a half. So however old you guys, if you're in your 30s and ramp it up to 40, then be 4 months of commitment. I would say stick with 6 months every single day, and you'll start noticing a difference. You're not going to feel like, you may feel a bit more energy or something's not hurting as much overnight, but it's taken me 57 years to get here. So it's going to take a while for me to have a new system rejuvenated.
Right.
Wow.
I feel like you just
blew my mind.
Yeah, you just gave us like an ultimate life hack. Anti-aging, wow. Okay, cool. Karen, tell the people where they can find you. What's your website?
Karen, do you teach people to do this, Karen? I know that you offer the services, but are you at the point of teaching others at this, or is that something that you plan on doing one day? I'm just
one day soon. Not too sure when. It's in the background of my mind. Maybe towards the end of this year. I have some outlines, so it's coming. I'm just not there yet. Okay. A lot of things personally is going on as well, so I got to balance the book gigs, interviews, all of that, plus my own clientele. They're the number ones because they're the ones that my clients are a priority, right? So a lot of stuff going on, but I do know that I need to start teaching people, and I'll handpick them. And I've got a list of people already who I think would be great. And then I'll offer it, say, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. But I think that's further down the line towards the end of this year. And I'm thinking about putting an online course together, so I actually don't have to, I don't have to be there for every single lesson, but I'll do once, sort of thing.
Sure.
Where people can find me, KarenWickerson.com. There you go.
All right. And on that website, you can book her to have an animal healing session or an animal telepathic communication session. So please make sure to check out KarenWickerson.com. This has been an amazing conversation. I love you guys so much.
So fun.
I love the opportunity to talk about these things and to bring awareness to all these weird little tangents my brain's always spinning out on anyways. Like for me, this conversation is super easy.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you everybody for watching.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any last pieces of advice or things they want to get off their chest before we close out for today?
I'm just grateful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I was able to get their messages out. I really appreciate it.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you again, Karen.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. And for our audience that's sticking around, thank you guys so much. Please do us a favor and smash that like button, click subscribe, ring our little notification bell, drop a lovely comment down below, and share this video with your family and friends to help us spread the good word. All right, Karen, join us for how we close out the show. Oh, are you frozen?
Nope, I'm still here.
Okay.
Join us with how we close out the show. So we do much love, peace, and namaste. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Much love, peace,
and
namaste.
Namaste.